Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching In Depth.
On Now You Know.
The Fremont Police Department has bought a used 2014 Tesla Model S 85 last January for $61,000.
Okay.
They said the Tesla is the only electric vehicle that met specifications for size, performance, battery range, and safety, all required for a fully deployable patrol vehicle. Tesla electric vehicles are manufactured locally in Fremont, of course. So the Fremont Police have a Tesla patrol vehicle.
That's great. I mean, that's awesome. They already had charging stations at their facilities, powered by the city's police complex's 872 kilowatt solar system.
Yeah.
So these are solar-powered police patrol vehicles.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, this is all great, but like, why would this be an in-depth?
Well, here's why. I think Tesla should create a police vehicle department. I think they should take 10 or 20 or, whatever number of engineers they need, and they should have them focusing on Tesla vehicles being sold to police departments as police vehicles.
Interesting.
And here's why.
Okay.
It's the safest car, as you already pointed out, right? It's safer than any car other than the Model 3. And Model 3s would be great police cars too.
Okay.
It's the quickest car out there. So what do police cars need to be? One of the most important aspects of them, they have to be quick. They have to, off the line, like waiting at parked somewhere.
Right.
Bad guy drives by, they have to zip out and get him. These would be great police vehicles. And in fact, I've had a police chief in my Tesla sitting in the driver's seat, gave him a test ride, and he was like, what is this car? We need this.
Wow.
And the only concern that he came up with was price and charging. But we're going to show you in this episode why we think this is a no-brainer on pretty much any metric you can come up with.
Okay.
All right, so one of the things that I think they should do at Tesla with these engineers is come up with all the things that police cars need and build them in-house so that they're ready to go. Because what most police departments have to do is buy like a Ford Explorer and then pay for $40,000 of added police stuff to be added to the car. What am I talking about? Sirens, bull bar, computers, all that stuff, right?
Okay.
If Tesla in-house could build all that stuff and just be like, oh, you need some police cars? They're ready to go. It would probably be cheaper to do because you're doing it in-house to the same car over and over and over again.
Yep.
Also, the Tesla is a computer on wheels. So what do police officers need in their cars?
They need a computer to be doing all sorts of stuff on.
Right. Police reports and looking things up.
Right. And I mean, having it, police cars have always just been a car. It's always just been like, I need to get to the scene of the crime, see? Like that was the whole point, was like, it's a lot faster than walking. I mean, there are so many other cool features that you could add to a Tesla.
I mean, Tesla's all about innovation. So this room full of engineers could be innovating the next 3.0 of police cars.
Right. Even without any modification, let's just start off with a base, like regular run-of-the-mill Tesla that a person could buy. It's, first of all, it's dead silent.
Right.
All the time.
And so that's an important quality.
Right. If you're sitting there idling, if you're approaching a scene of a crime, obviously sometimes you have your lights on, but sometimes you need to go in quiet.
Right.
And being able to be dead silent could be a huge benefit. And so, like, one of the things you could add would be like infrared lights around the whole car. Talking about other things that are already in the cars, autopilot. Autopilot is huge because you could put it in autopilot and then all of a sudden be looking around and like, oh, that guy's texting, I'm going to pull him over.
Oh, and typing in license plate numbers and stuff. Yeah, it frees the police officer up to
be more observant.
Alert and observant. Oh, so if you're already talking about things that the car has built in, it has built-in 360 cameras.
Right.
Which means that when a police officer gets to like a scene of a crime or an accident, the dash cam normally just records what's out the front windshield. This could record in 360 everything that's going on around, either for later, evidence, or also there's a camera inside the car. So if there's ever a question about how a perpetrator was treated once they're arrested and put in the car, this camera could record that. Yeah. Oh, and another thing that's built into the car already, maps. Having a nice map that you can zoom in on, or maybe even possible to follow the suspect vehicle on the map.
I mean, and let's also talk about things that the engineers can work on, like coming up with. It would be awesome if there was a police option package of having all the windows and doors bulletproof.
Yeah.
So now your car is bulletproof on top of being extra safe. I'm thinking about, extra safety in terms of what a police officer needs more so than, regular civilian drivers. Probably something when he's stopped on the highway. A lot of deaths happen due to rear-ending. So if there is some kind of either crash attenuator that can come out to lessen the impact of a collision, or, I mean, the car is already heavier than a normal police cruiser, so that's a big benefit. But if if you came up with like spikes on the car that would go into the road or something, I mean, Tesla's engineers are quite outside of the box thinkers, and I think that there are a lot of different things that we can come up with.
Wait a minute, summon. Right now, it's a simple feature, right, where it summons it out of a parking space. But what if the car could summon, like Elon's been talking about, so that let's say the police officer gets out of his car to like foot chase someone, and then summons the car to him so that he can hop in and continue the chase. And Elon's been talking about the pet follow mode. It would be great if the police officer gets out of the car and the car just follows him so that he's got his car at the ready whenever he needs it.
Right. It could be that, you hop out of the car and you say, "Quick, take control of my car, Bob." And Bob is back at HQ and he's sitting there with a Xbox controller or whatever and a VR headset, and he's going like, "Okay, and then I'm going to do this and that," right?
Yeah, because, I mean, we do that with drones across the world.
Right. So, I mean, now you do it with a car. I mean, the possibilities are pretty endless.
Let's talk about high-speed chases. I mean, normally you have to have a bunch of officers all coordinating with each other to stop a car. You could have some kind of hive mode where, like, 3 Teslas could, I mean, officers inside them, but they could be, like, noosing in on a high-speed car.
Right. Keep in mind that this is already one of the quickest cars out there. So, guy zips past you and all of a sudden you just pull up right behind him like, I don't know, 5-10 seconds later. He's not going to be like, "I'm going to get away."
That's a really good point.
As soon as he goes to accelerate and you're just right behind him, like, dude, just pull over.
Right,
please.
because, I mean, it's those first few seconds that determine whether or not you're going to catch someone. If in those first few seconds they can just take off, there's a lower chance that you're going to catch them.
Right, especially with like motorcycles. Motorcycles have insane accelerations. They're able to accelerate roughly the same speed as a Tesla.
That's a really good point. There are motorcycle gangs popping up all over the place, and basically they come and taunt police officers. There's videos all over the internet showing that, and police officers in their normal cars can't catch them. If you have comments of your ideas below to make a police car the coolest and have features that would save lives, please comment below, because you probably have a ton of cool ideas.
Yep.
All right, so my idea is that Tesla would come up with this division, and they would start to give away some of these cars very cheaply or maybe for free to a few police departments, right, like Fremont, so that they could start to get feedback from those officers. So over the next 6 months or a year, give them to police officers, get the real-life feedback of what they need, implement those changes, and then bring them to police conferences.
Right. I think that having a Model S at a police conference where you have a bunch of police chiefs is going to sell a lot of cars.
Yes.
Because, I mean, you can show all the charging stations that you want. Maybe there's special, like, breakaway cables for where if it's like, "Oh, no, we have to go right now. There's no time to unplug." You drive away, and they have a special ejector cable that pops out of the car when you put it in drive. I don't know.
Because, I mean, if you hired a former police chief as your VP of this department so that he could police speak, and let officers know that this car has everything they need, and then they went for test drives, because we've said it before, put your butt in the seat of a Tesla, you are sold. So get those police officers in these cars and have them drive around. They will see immediately what we're talking about. As soon as you get police departments to have Teslas, there's going to inevitably be accidents.
Right.
And when you have an accident that would have normally been a deadly accident, because sadly that happens, and then you see what happens in the world's safest car, where that accident wasn't deadly,
Right.
Boom. You are going to have every police department in the nation knowing about that and going, that would have been a dead officer.
Absolutely.
It's going to save officers' lives because, again, going back to, these are cars that you're putting out at risk every single day.
Right.
You're putting them at the risk of highway accidents, city accidents, smashing into things all day long. And when those things happen, people are going to actually live in these cars.
Right. Another point is that Teslas are extremely low maintenance, and police cars have to be driven hard.
Yep.
So whether you're getting to the scene of a crime or whether you're in hot pursuit.
Heavy braking, heavy acceleration.
It's true.
And they're idling, when they're not actually driving them, they're idling them. So for their entire shift of 8 or 10 hours, the engine is on.
Right. And so that is constantly wearing the engine. Now, we're going to get to maintenance later, but let's just talk about a couple of other points. You need high acceleration for a police car.
Right.
To be able to catch crooks, you got to be able to go fast.
Well, let's talk about what the current police cars are. Let's take one of the most popular, which is the Dodge Charger, 5.7 liter V8 all-wheel drive. What can it do 0 to 60?
It can go 0 to 60 in 6.05 seconds. It has 370 horsepower, and it has a top speed of 150 miles an hour.
And what's it get for gas mileage?
It gets 13 city and 22 miles per gallon highway. So pretty bad.
What's the 0 to 60 on a Model S?
On a performance Model S, it can go as high as 2.1 seconds.
That is about 3 times quicker than the Dodge Charger.
Yep.
Horsepower, yeah, it blows it away. It's got 779 horsepower, about more than double. Its top speed is about the same at 155 miles an hour, but its gas mileage equivalent is
Far better. It's 92 city and 105 highway.
right. But so just looking at fuel costs here,
Right.
we're looking at a difference of, let's just say city to city, 13 miles per gallon for a Dodge Charger versus 92 miles per gallon for a Model S, and that's, of course, equivalent. It doesn't use gas. All right, so let's talk about Fremont and their experience. So they said that a Ford Explorer in their fleet would cost them approximately $32,000 in gas and an estimated $15,000 in maintenance over 5 years, which is the average life cycle for a police vehicle. So the police expect that electric vehicles may be operational for longer due to less mechanical issues. So let's talk about engine idling for a second, all right? And let's think about all that CO2 that is coming out of an ICE car the entire time it's running, which we just said is, a 10-hour shift of just constant CO2.
Right. And pollution.
And pollution, exactly, and burning fuel. So some estimates are that during a 10-hour shift, police cars drive an average of 75 miles and idle for an average of 4 hours. Idle hours mean an additional 75 to 125 miles of engine wear. So even while they're just sitting there, they're wearing out their car.
Right. In fact, new police cars come with a dedicated odometer to show both driven miles and engine hours. And so that basically means that while a police car is sitting there idling, you are wearing out its engine. So even though it's not going from 55,822 miles to 8,523 miles, it's still sitting there idling.
Right.
And that time is hurting the engine over time. And so you have to then remove that car from service sooner than if it wasn't running the engine. Now, Teslas do not get worn out while idling.
Exactly. So conservatively, if Teslas last twice as long than a ICE police car, then you're saving an entire vehicle cost plus maintenance plus fuel. So let's
Again.
So
Right.
let's check this out, the cost savings. So the cost savings we already found out from Fremont is $32,000 in gas over 5 years and $15,000 in maintenance over the life. So that's the average ICE fleet vehicle. Since we're estimating that the Tesla lasts 10 years, you're now saving an additional car's worth of gas at $32,000, maintenance at $15,000, plus you don't have to buy another ICE police vehicle. So in this case, a Ford Police Interceptor would cost $105,960 new. So what's that in total savings?
$199,960 in savings.
All right. So one of the first questions you're going to get from any police chief is, well, what's this going to cost my department?
Right.
So you're going to buy a new Model S P100D. That's $123,750. You're going to need some kind of police package. So I'm estimating that if Tesla actually brought this in-house, they could get it to about $20,000, probably half the price of a typical add-on, because they could do this all in-house.
Right.
So that would bring it to $143,750. Now, for a lot of police chiefs out there, they might be going, whoa,
That's more
a lot of money.
expensive than my typical Ford Explorer.
But you just saved a Ford Explorer at $105,960, and you saved $199,960 in savings for your fuel and so forth. So you have saved, over 10 years, $162,170. Now, as Fremont Police Captain Sean Washington said about this initiative, the Electric Patrol Vehicle Pilot Program is an extension of the city's clean technology and smart city initiatives to help make Fremont a more sustainable community. Given that Fremont Police Vehicle is responsible for a total of 980 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually, this program has the potential to eliminate 10% of all municipal greenhouse gas emissions. What's a police department's job?
To serve and protect.
So we often just think about that in terms of criminals, but they're also protecting your health. And if they're driving around in ICE vehicles, they're actually contributing to diminishing your health.
Right.
Whereas if they're driving around in clean EVs, they're cleaning up your environment. They're keeping your environment clean. They're keeping you healthy.
Right.
They're serving and protecting you.
Right.
So let's summarize. If you're driving around with the police chief in your Model S trying to tell them how great it's going to be when they switch, let them know they're going to save $162,000 over 10 years. It's going to be the quickest police car in the world, the safest police car in the world, the cleanest police car in the world, and the quietest police car in the world.
Right. It will most likely be able to attract residents to your town. It will definitely attract police officers.
That's a
You'll
good
have
point.
healthier officers and healthier residents.
And let's keep in mind that there are 700,000 police cars approximately in the United States. So this is a huge market. In 2018, for instance, Ford sold 41,000 police cars in the United States. So Tesla could easily do the same. That's just one company, Ford.
Right.
And if they did that with the Model S, keep in mind that in 2018, Tesla sold 26,000 Model S's. So if they were able to sell 41,000 to police departments,
Right.
that would be a huge boost to their bottom line.
So it would take some work on Tesla's part. They would definitely have to set aside some engineers to work on this problem. They would need to have an entire marketing department that was focused on police. But I think that the benefits to society as well as to Tesla's bottom line are potentially humongous.
Well, and the fact that you could put solar panels on the roof of your police department and probably take care of all the fuel costs for your vehicles.
It's true.
You know, I mean, we're not even thinking of that yet because a huge cost every year for police departments is fueling their vehicles. They
Right.
just constantly have to fill them with gasoline.
And another point is that they don't know exactly what that's going to cost. If for some geopolitical reason the price of gas shoots up, then all of a sudden they need to spend more on gas and they can't spend as much on body cams or body armor. That is a huge variable in their budget. And if you can all of a sudden be like, oh, that's just free because the sun comes up every day.
Right.
That's huge. Thank you so much for watching this episode of In Depth. We hope you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you like this sort of content. We come out with it every single week. In Depth on Tuesdays, Tesla Time News on Mondays.
And you know, if you're a police chief and you're just inspired to get a Model S or X, you have a couple days left to use our referral code, and we'll come visit you in the next generation Tesla Roadster, which would also make a great police car.
It would make a great police car. Kind of like a Dubai sort of police car. But hey, if we come to visit you and you're police chief and you've used our code to buy a Model S, Model X, or Model 3, maybe we could do a little high-speed chase practice or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what's legal in your town. But I don't know. Let us know. That would be really exciting. Thank you so much for watching. Now you know.